About who we think when we think about accessibility. Again, I want to start with this big picture. We will focus today on mobility issues, but we should really think in a wider perspective, and I will explain later why. When we think about accessibility, we really should think in a prism of universal design, of different people, people with different weight, small kids, short, tall people, persons with and without disabilities, people with different perceptions. As we know, some perceive more visually, some audially, and etc. Like to think in this very diverse way of people having very, very different needs. And I just mentioned universal design. So the most probably you are familiar with it, but I just want to remember how important it is to always keep it in mind. These are these 7 principles you should always keep in mind to when you make products, environments, or any educational content. Also in education, you can use universal design principles. So you can see them here, and yeah, then later you can read more about them. And which is also very important if we think about accessibility. We need to think about, think in a frame of design thinking. No accessibility solution can be made very fastly in last minute. We need to think in advance to do the research, define problems, create prototypes, and involve target group. And it's very important also to test these solutions we create. And I will mention it again, like making environment accessible is never-ending process. So design thinking helps us a lot. And again, just to show how different people we are in society, I really love this Erasmus Plus categories where they talk about persons with fewer opportunities. And you can see there are many, many groups, for example, disability, health problems, learning difficulties, cultural differences, social, economic barriers, and geographical. I always like how this list shows how diverse are we. And as I sometimes say as a joke, almost every one of us can find ourselves in some of these categories, or maybe even few. So it's really about all of us. And more I work in inclusion, more I realize it's about diversity in general. So diversity is similarities and differences in our values, culture, gender, and our knowledge and life experience. So we have different experiences. And here you can see also groups of people who are discriminated the most, and they are gender, ethnicity, disability, religion, sex and sexual orientation, age, and others. Of course, there are also others, but as you can see, it's also age. And again, this is something we all have. At one point, sometimes we are too small, and this is the reason we are discriminated, and we are too old, and always there is something we are discriminated because. And if talking about diversity, it is super important to understand that sometimes actually we want or we don't accept something in people they actually can't change. Because that's why I like this diagram of dimensions of diversity, which shows actually that personality is very complex. And sometimes when we don't accept some part of society or some kind of people, we actually don't accept some core values or core things they can't change about themselves. So It's again about how empathic we are to others. And we really need to remember that we need to accept people. And if we talk about disability, it's really a lot about just acceptance, not wanting to change people, just to accept them. If we think of diversity in a wider perspective in general, that again, as I said, sometimes it's about some core values people can't change. So we always need to think how we behave or how we talk about some parts of the society, some groups of the society. This is just a reminder. And if we come closer to accessibility, which is the topic, of course, also today, also it's very important to understand it's a very complex thing. And as you see up there, it's written attitude in very big letters, because I believe and I see in my daily practice that everything starts with the right attitude. It's like a base of everything, and then all the rest comes. If we have a right attitude, then it's easier to be more accessible, be more open, and yeah, accessibility is about, as I said, diversity, inclusion, about the user and its needs, about well-being in general, and I mentioned universal design too, and design in general. And here you can see also information access. I will later mention it again, because it's super important also to have accessible information about accessibility or in general. So we provide also information that we are friendly and accessible, for example. So I just briefly run through the basic principles and legislation. And now I will define mobility or physical disability. What is it and what it's not, and how we should think. So movement impairment. So it can be starting from changed way of walking until using different aids, for example, wheelchair, cane, crutches, and others. And maybe for a person, it's hard to walk or hard to walk long distances or hard to walk on steps or stairs, or they may be in a wheelchair, which is one of the typical persons we think of when we think of physical disability. We think in many cases of a wheelchair because it's so obvious. So there is this disability you can see and you can't see. So of course, wheelchair, or if person is using any other aids, it's obvious, right? So we see it. But again, these needs are so diverse. For example, person in a wheelchair can also sometimes step up or walk even short distances or walk on the stairs. We need always to ask person what they can or can't do. And this is big mistake because sometimes we decide instead of person. Oh, it's not accessible there. You are not able to go there. There is, I don't know, small step or something or stairs. But we always need to ask person what are the needs and what they can do or can't. Needs are very, very different. Yeah, and person can also, of course, use crutches for a while only. For example, if they have leg injury or other injury, so they can also use these aids for a while. And then this disability can disappears and they can walk again, for example. And what is very important, people with movement impairment can also have a weak hand grip. It means the hand is not so strong. Maybe they can't move themselves with a wheelchair, or they can't lift heavy objects, or even taking a hand pen. And if we think also about educational environment, again, we just can know that sometimes maybe people can't even write or draw, but they can have special aids for that. I will show you later what kind of. So yeah, if we have some workshop or lecture or event where a person needs to write or draw, we just can keep in our mind that not everyone can do it. And sometimes people with movement impairment have also speech difficulties, so it's hard to understand them, how they verbalize. They do it in their a bit different way. And it's super important always to speak with a person anyway, even if it's with assistant. And in the most cases, person itself knows that they have speech difficulties, and the others just need time to get used to way how they speak. So yeah, a bit patience and a bit time, and it's possible to communicate. Even though I don't have speech difficulties, it sometimes also happened that I'm somewhere, for example, in airport, and staff speaks with my assistant, not with me. They ask to assistant, like, can she walk, or the other questions, and the feeling is really not nice. You feel like you are not there, like you are not there. So why then they don't ask me? So remember always to reach out to the person and communicate straightly to the person, no matter what kind of disability they have. And if we think about accessibility and movement impairment, we need to think of all physical environment, Is there enough space to move around with different aids, with the wheelchairs? Are there no too high or too low spaces? For example, if a person needs to reach something very low or write on a very low table, it's not possible. The same if it's too high, then it's also not possible to reach. We need to think of, are there any barriers, for example, steps, door stills, because even 2 centimeters can be hardly overcome or not possible to overcome if hands are weaker. I'm talking about the wheelchair. The smaller front wheels are smaller and they can get stuck, and it's dangerous actually. I will show also how looks the wheelchair and what are the types of the wheelchair. And we need also to think of are armrests necessary, like where a person can hold when they need to change a seat, for example. And here in the right side, you see 2 icons. In the left is this old one where a person in a wheelchair is sitting and not moving, like straight hands in the front. And this icon also symbolizes not only people in a wheelchair, it symbolizes people with a movement impairment in general. But in the right side, you see this active person, which is active, I don't know, going around using all the facilities, all the public spaces, and person is independent and active. You see it in a movement. So this also shows how approach has changed during the time. And here you can see different types of wheelchairs. In the left is active wheelchair. I also use active one. It's a bit smaller. It's very easy to navigate it. It's possible easily to fold it. For example, I can put it in a car myself, or someone else can put it in the car. It's very light and easy to ride with it. In the middle, there's a manual wheelchair. It's much heavier. It's not so easy to go around with it. It's more old-fashioned. I don't know, many times seniors sit in this kind of wheelchair, and it's already hard for a senior to move, and especially in this kind of wheelchair. I don't know why it's sometimes so, but it's very hard to go with it. And you can't be very independent. It's more maybe if someone just pushes you. And in the right side, there's electric wheelchair, and electric wheelchair is bigger, it's heavier. You need to have electricity to charge it. And what is very important, wheelchair itself, it's around 100 kilograms. So imagine 100 kilograms plus person. it's very, very heavy. It's not possible to lift it, to move it in a regular car. You need special car. And yeah, so you see how different wheelchairs are. There's also a different way how to fold them. And you need always to ask a person how to assist or how to fold the wheelchair, because they will know it the best. It really depends of a wheelchair type and etc. Here, I also want to mention why sometimes people think sometimes that oh, we will lift the person, or we will just help the person to get in the second floor or something. First, it's dangerous. Second, it's not possible without kind of medical situations. For example, person can't move from their wheelchair, or it can be very dangerous. They don't have a good balance. And also, if we think of this very heavy wheelchair, it's not possible to lift it. So this is really not a solution. And here you can see also other equipment, assistive devices. In the left is rollator. There are different types of rollators. This one is with a wheel. Sometimes there are no wheels. So again, we need more space to move. And there is one type of cane, like a bit different one. You can see also this kind of cane. About assistive devices, it's super important also never remove device from the person without asking or letting them know that you move. For example, if a person in a wheelchair is in a bed, wheelchair is near and you remove it for some reason, a person can't move afterward. Or if there is, I don't know, a lecture, someone that is with rollator and you need more space and you just move it. It's not okay. You always need to ask and let the person knows to know. And in the right side, you can see these other aids I mentioned. For example, if a person has a weak hand grid, this is knife, but there are also special tools for holding a pen and other things. So there are many different assistive devices, and always ask a person what is the best way to help with it, or how to fold it, etc., etc. And person with disability can also come with assistant. An assistant can be a human or a dog, for example. And here you can see two dogs. The one in the front with this white vest, it's dog assistant for a blind person. You see it has this different handle. And a bit further, the dog with the green vest, it's assistant for a person in a wheelchair.